حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. استغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه محسن وقد أتاك المصيب. الله أكبر. الله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر بحول الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. لا إله إلا الله الحليم الكريم. لا إله إلا الله العلي العظيم. سبحان الله رب السماوات السبع ورب الأرضين السبع وما فيهن وما بينهن ورب العرش العظيم والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بحول الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا جليل ارحم عبدك الذليل. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله.
أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. अस्तगफिरुल्लाह अल्लज़ी ला इलाहा इल्ला हुवल हय्युल क़य्यूम अर्रहमानिर रहीम ज़ुल जलाली वल इकराम व अतूबु इलैह अस्तगफिरुल्लाह अल्लज़ी ला इलाहा इल्ला हुवल हय्युल क़य्यूम अर्रहमानिर रहीम ज़ुल जलाली वल इकराम व अतूबु इलैह अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अल्लाहुम्मा इन्नी अस्अलुका मिन मुजिबाति रहमतिक وأعظم مغفرتك والنجاة من النار ومن كل بلية والفوز بالجنة والرضوان في دار السلام وجعل نبيك محمد عليه وآله السلام اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
My salat for Salat al-Isha will be Qasr. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله صلى على محمد وآل محمد أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله استغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه محسن قد أتاك المصير الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفر إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم أدخلنا في كل خير أدخلت فيه محمد وآل محمد وأخرجنا من كل سوء أخرجت منه محمد وآل محمد وصل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إنه ليس لي علم بموضع رزقي وإنما أتلو بخبرات تخطر على قلبي فأجل في طلب البلدان فأنا فيما أنا طالب كالحيران لا أدري في سحل أم في جبل أم في أرض أم في السماء أم في بر أم في بحر وعلى من قبل من وقد علمت أن علمه عندك وأسبابه بيدك وأنت الذي تقسم بلطفك وتسببه برحمتك. اللهم فصل على محمد وآله واجعل يا ربي رزقك لي واسعا ومطلبه سهلا وأخذه قريبا ولا تعنني بقول ما لم تقدر لي فيه رزقا فإنك غني عن عذابي وأنا فقير إلى رحمتك. وصل على محمد وآله وجب على عبدك بفضلك إنك ذو فضل عظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد. متوجه زيارة. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله وخاتم النبيين، السلام عليك أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب، السلام عليك فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا أبا محمد حسن بن علي المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين الشهيد بكربلاء، السلام عليكم تسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين، علي بن الحسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي باقر وعلم النبيين وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا ومحمد بن علي الجواد وعلي بن محمد الهادي والحسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك وجعلنا من أعوانك والأنصارك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد عن جابر بن عبد الله أنصار عن فاطمة الزهراء عليه السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال السلام عليك يا فاطمة فقلت عليك السلام قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا فقلت له أعيدك بالله يا أبته من الضعف فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله ما صل على محمد فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدة يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرات فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جدة السلام عليك يا من اختار الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافي أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت عليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابني أمي رسول الله فقلت نعم ها هو ما ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء فقال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وسيي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبته يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء فقال عليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بدهتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومى بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وهامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا هرب لمن هاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم واجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل على. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مدهية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا ربي ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. فقال جبرائيل يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله عز وجل نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرأك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجليلي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مدهية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أدنى علي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبيه إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وعلى. فقال علي لأبيه يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وآله والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا محبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي عليه السلام إذ والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال أبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واستفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا محبينا وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله همه ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام إذا والله فزنا وسودنا وكذلك شيعتنا فعزوا وسودوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة اللهم صل على.
वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु काश में दौरे पैगंबर में उठाया जाता काश मैं दौरे पैगंबर में उठाया जाता, काश मैं दौरे पैगंबर में उठाया जाता, बाखुदा कदमों में सरकार के पाया जाता, काश मैं दौरे पैगंबर में उठाया जाता। साथ सरकार के ग़ज़वात में शामिल होता, साथ सरकार के ग़ज़वात में शामिल होता, उनकी नुसरत में लहू मेरा बहाया जाता, काश मैं दौरे पैगंबर में उठाया जाता। रेत के ज़र्रों में अल्लाह बदल देता मुझे, रेत के ज़र्रों में अल्लाह बदल देता मुझे, फिर मुझे राह मोहम्मद में बिछाया जाता, काश मैं दौरे पैगंबर में उठाया जाता। खाक हो जाता मैं सरकार के कदमों के तले, खाक हो जाता मैं सरकार के कदमों के तले, खाक को खाके मदीना में मिलाया जाता, काश मैं दौरे पैगंबर में उठाया जाता। या उतरता किसी नात के मिसरे बन कर, या उतरता किसी नात के मिसरे बन कर, रूबरू उनके मैं उनको ही सुनाया जाता, काश मैं दौरे पैगंबर में उठाया जाता। पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु
जाहिर भाई, जाहिर भाई, एक दफा फिर दुरूद भेजे, दुरूद भेजे। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला सादा से शेर हैं दो चार। है खुदा कुछ देर को दे दे जुबान कुरान की। है खुदा कुछ देर को दे दे जुबान कुरान की। मदह करनी है मुझे मेराज के मेहमान की। मदह करनी है मुझे मेराज के मेहमान की। क्या लिखूं मैं शान उस ज़ाते अज़ीम शान की। क्या लिखूं मैं शान उस ज़ाते अज़ीम शान की। सरहद जिसने मिलादी वाजिब इम्कान की। सरहद जिसने मिलादी वाजिब इम्कान की। हक में सहरा में उगा कर नाम अहमद का गुलाब। हक में सहरा में उगा कर नाम अहमद का गुलाब। यक बयक किस्मत बदल दी तप तेरे दिस्तान की। यक बयक किस्मत बदल दी तप तेरे दिस्तान की। दहर में इंसान को इंसान बनाने के लिए। दहर में इंसान को इंसान बनाने के लिए। आमना के लाल ने बाजी लगा दी जान की। आमना के लाल ने बाजी लगा दी जान की। या मोहम्मद इस बुलंदी पर है तेरी लाडली। या मोहम्मद इस बुलंदी पर है तेरी लाडली। रोटियां जन्नत में पहुंची जिसके दस्तरखान की। रोटियां जन्नत में पहुंची जिसके दस्तरखान की। दुरूद भेजिए बात हो। मुझे लग रहा है हम विचार ही पढ़ने वाले। एक और मनकबत के चंद शेर हैं। ये जनाब सैयदा पे शायर नायाब दुआरी साहब। सारी शरीयतें हैं अधूरी तेरे बगैर, सारी शरीयतें हैं अधूरी तेरे बगैर। ऐ फातिमा तू दीन नहीं दियात है, मैं खाक सार क्या तेरी अजमत बयां करूं, मैं खाक सार क्या तेरी अजमत बयां करूं। मौलाए कायनात की तू कायनात है। चार में से और कुरान को भी कहना पड़ा या अली मदद, कुरान को भी कहना पड़ा या अली मदद। पेश आई जब भी मंजिले तशरीह फातिमा, रब ने उसे नमाज का झूमर बना दिया, इतनी पसंद आ गई तस्बीह फातिमा। मनक़बत के आदर्श दो तीन पढ़ो, एक दफा दुरूद का सहारा।
भी खोल के पढ़ लो, बार बार बोलो वाले मोहम्मद
अपनी किस्मत का सितारा जगमगाने के लिए, अपनी किस्मत का सितारा जगमगाने के लिए है बज़द ज़हरा दरे ज़हरा पे आने के लिए, है बज़द ज़हरा दरे ज़हरा पे आने के लिए। मादरे हसनैन के होठों तक आने के लिए, मादरे हसनैन के होठों तक आने के लिए आए तो बेचैन है महराज पाने के लिए, आयत बेचैन है महराज पाने के लिए। गए तेरे फाकों की किंदी लेना होती फातिमा, गए तेरे फाकों की किंदी लेना होती फातिमा। ठोकरें खाती ये दुनिया दाने दाने के लिए, ठोकरें खाती ये दुनिया दाने दाने के लिए। हाल के कौनो मकान खुद को रखाला मकान। हाल के कौनो मकान खुद को रखाला मकान। वक्फ अपना घर किया तेरे घराने के लिए। वक्फ अपना घर किया तेरे घराने के लिए। हम गुनहगारों से बच पाया ना जब रोजा तेरा। हम गुनहगारों से बच पाया ना जब रोजा तेरा। फिर जमाने में बचा है क्या बचाने के लिए। फिर जमाने में बचा है क्या बचाने के लिए। मदह की मकतार मदह की नायाब शहजादी तुम्हारा शुक्रिया। शायरी को बख्श दी छत सर छुपाने के लिए। शायरी को बख्श दी छत सर छुपाने के लिए। अपनी किस्मत का सितारा जगमगाने के लिए। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला
मुहम्मद। एक और बुलंदतर सलावत। बयान करने को यूं तो दुनिया, बयान करने को यूं तो दुनिया, शरफ बयां करती है सभी के। शरफ बयां करती है सभी के, मगर जो अक्ल सलीम रखता है जानता है सिवा नबी के। नहीं है कोई अली से बेहतर, कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं सिवा नबी के। अली से बेहतर कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं। हुनैन बदरो हद से पूछो, अमल के दो नीम सर से पूछो। अली की दो उंगलियों की ताकत है क्या ये खैबर के दर से पूछो। कसम खुदा की मिसाल है दे, कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं सिवा नबी के। अली से बेहतर कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं। गदीर से जब के मैंने पूछा, गदीर से जब के मैंने पूछा, है तुझको मालूम सारा किस्सा, सिवाली के है और कोई बनाया जिसको नबी ने मौला, तड़प के बोला ये खुम का मिंबर, कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं, सिवा नबी के अली से बेहतर कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं। अली की तलवार चल रही है, नबी का चेहरा दमक रहा है, कोई दता है ओहद में कोई नजर बचाकर सरक रहा है, नबी के पास अब सिवाय हैदर कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं, सिवा नबी के अली से बेहतर कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं। हजार रुतबे बढ़ाए दुनिया, हजार सर पर चढ़ाए दुनिया, मोहम्मद मुस्तफा की मसनद पे जिसको चाहे बिठाए दुनिया, सवार दोषे नबी का हमसे कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं, सिवा नबी के अली से बेहतर कोई नहीं है कोई नहीं। सलवात।
दूसरे अर्ज है, बाब अर्शे मोहल्ला सजा है, नूर से नूर मिलने चला है, मिलने को खालिक दो जहां से मालिक दो जहां आ रहा है। नारे सरवात। अगर चुराना है, इज्जत अर्श तेरे आमदम से दोबारा देखी, इज्जत अर्श तेरे दम से दोबारा देखी, तेरी तौकीर सरे अर्श मोहल्ला देखी, जब इनायत की नज़र आपके आका देखी, जब इनायत की नज़र आपके आका देखी, अपनी तकदीर की पलटी हुई दुनिया देखी, तेरी आमद से हुई रहमत बारिश हरसू, तेरी आमद से हुई रहमत बारिश हरसू, गुलशन अजीज ने फिर तर्ज बसिया देखी। नारे सरवास। क्यों ना हो अर्श क्यों ना हो अर्श पे अंगुश बदलदा हुए, क्यों ना हो अर्श पे अंगुश बदलदा हुए, बाद मुद्दत के जो सूरत ज़ैबा देखी, अर्श अर्श इश्क़ अहमद के सिवा कुछ नहीं अब तो यहाँ, इश्क़ अहमद के सिवा कुछ भी नहीं अब तो यहाँ, इश्क़ अहमद के सिवा कुछ नहीं अब तो कुछ भी नहीं अब तो यहाँ, रोशनी जब से दो अनवार की यकजा देखी, रोशनी जब से दो अनवार की यकजा देखी, शान वहदत से भला कोई क्यों वाकिफ होता, शान वहदत से भला कोई क्यों वाकिफ होता, उसको पाया है तो बस तेरे देखा देखी। मुख्तार है तेरे जल्बों की ज़ियारत हो कभी बाखिर को, तेरे जलवों की ज़ियारत हो कभी बाकिर को जागते सोते ही दिल की तमन्ना देखी। तेरे जलवों की ज़ियारत हो कभी बाकिर को जागते सोते ही दिल की तमन्ना देखी। इज्जत अर्श तेरे दम से दोबारा देखी, तेरे तकरीर से अर्श मोहल्ला देखी। नारे सरवात।
رحم الله من يكرم اللهم صل على محمد. رحم الله من يقرأ سورة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. الحمد لله رب العالمين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، واللعنة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة. آمنا بالله، صدق الله العلي العظيم. Your second salawat to love Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. And your loudest salawat to ta'jeel farj sahib al-asr wa zaman. As'ad Allah ayamana wa ayamakum. May Allah make these days blessed and happy for all of us. As we mentioned, the wiladat of our master Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Tonight's discussion begins from a question, and that question is: what is the currency of the government of our 12th Imam? Now let me explain the question. When we look at the narrations that talk about the time of our 12th Imam, and we see that in this time it's the completion of the promises that Allah has made to our Holy Prophet, where he says, for example, هُوَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلَ رَسُولُهُ بِالْهُدَى وَدِينِ الْحَقِّ لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُشْرِكُونَ. That Allah will make this world follow the religion of Islam even if the disbelievers dislike this and they find it to be uncomfortable. That this time has to come when the Prophet's message will be completed for humanity. And this is known as the Dawr of our 12th Imam. We know that there are certain promises made in the Quran that if the Quran is true, they still have yet to come true. As part of this, the government of our 12th Imam and its establishment is designed to be something that will be unlike any other government or ruling period of any other time. Part of this we know is when the conversation about the 12th Imam's government comes, that it says that the earth will open up its treasures for the Imam that have not been opened up before. That the benefits that are made in this earth for humanity to benefit from will all be accessible and available. There's a very interesting discussion that says that when Allah sent our forefather Adam on this earth, every tree on this earth would give a fruit that was beneficial to humanity. And that when humanity began to commit shirk, half of those trees lost their ability to give any benefits from their fruit to humanity. The return of our Imam and the establishment of the justice of Allah on this earth is a restoration of all those benefits that were taken away from us because of the misdeeds that were done. Further to that, shall we go a step further? We're okay? Further to that, the knowledge that the Imam shares with humanity is not limited to the material of this world. Rather, when Allah made the statement, "Inni ja'ilan fil ardi khalifa," that I'm going to place on this earth my Khalifa, the restriction was not to the earth, but rather the known creation, which includes the space, the stars, and the planets that exist. The authority and the government of the Imam will not be limited to this planet, but rather to the entire system of space and planets that exist, will be something that man will be able to exert his authority over. When we talk about the knowledge that the Imam gives to humanity, we say that we have attained one part of this knowledge, and over 90 parts of this knowledge are still with our Imam that he will educate us about. Meaning there are many things that are missing from us. So what we say is that when we see the dawr of the Imam, that wealth will be available from this earth. The treasures of this earth will open up. The treasures of space and whatever else is in creation will open up to humanity. That the access to all of these resources will be something that is made readily available. When we see these, now when we see the narration that says that in the time of the Imam, Baytul Mal, the treasury of humanity, will call out to people, is there anyone who wants wealth? No one will accept the wealth. And that if someone agrees to take that wealth, then they will complain and say that I really didn't need it. I don't want to take it. It's not something useful for me. And they will return it. What points to from this conversation is that wealth as we understand it today and money and property that we are arguing for and fighting for will not be worth anything in that time that anybody will be interested in it. It makes sense to some extent when we see how Allah describes wealth and children, that today's standard, the most successful a person is one who comes from a good genealogy and has a good family and has access to his family and resources, and one who possesses wealth. But look at how Allah describes these items. He says that certainly, إِنَّمَا الْمَالُ وَالْبَنُونَ زِينَةُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا, that these are the beauty of this world. إِنَّمَا الْمَالُ وَالْبَنُونَ فِتْنَةٌ. At times, Allah is describing these things as being a source of difficulty and problems. At times, He's describing them as matters of this world, meaning that the idea that these are some things that are useful is somewhat limited. And in an ideal government, we would say that it should not be something that the government should be based on. Further to that, we say that our Imam is the one, يَمْلَأَ الْأَرْضَ عَدْلًا وَقِسْتًا كَمَا مُلِعَتْ ظُلْمًا وَجَوْرًا. That the Imam will be someone who will fill this earth with justice and equity as it has been filled with oppression and injustice. Now, the problem with building a government on the basis of money is that money is something that you can possess as a good person and as a bad person. I can come to wealth and possession by having a good nature and doing good things, and I can come to this wealth through illicit means. To base a government on something that can be based on illicit means, how would it then work with the justice that the Imam is implementing in society if an oppressor can attain goodness and high status in a society on this basis? So the problem we see is that some narrations tell us money will not be useful. Other descriptions that tell us about the justice of the Imam imply that it would be really difficult for a justice to be established on something that can be abused and oppressed. And that the idea that society needs a system of currency to operate. And the nature of humanity is to compete and have differences between themselves and to have superiority among society. Allah in the Quran gives us instruction because our nature is to be competitive and want superiority. Allah says, فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. Compete with one another in good deeds. That this is what will differentiate you on the day of judgment. So to say that, for example, there will be no need to differentiate, all people will be equal simultaneously, this too doesn't make sense with the nature of man. So there has to be something that will be acknowledged and appreciated as a currency of that time. The question is, what is that currency? What is that item that people will take superiority and differentiate on the basis of this? Today, what we do is we take a look at the basis of the superiority to find examples to follow. How many articles have you seen written? 10 habits of highly successful people. What every millionaire does when they start their day. What does Fulan min Fulan billionaire eat every morning? What's the interest of writing these articles? It's that humanity has a desire not just to compete to attain these things, but we have a habit to look up to the ones who have attained the success of society. So meaning there must be some example that will be set, there must be something on the basis of which the fundamentals of society will continue. But wealth and something that is a test, something that is a fitna, something that is a cause of trouble and difficulties in life, doesn't make sense because those troubles and difficulties can be abused by people. So the suggestion that I have based upon the research that I've done is that morality will be the currency of the government of Sahib al-Zaman. Sallu ala dhikrihi. Let me explain something. Morality is an attribute possessed amongst all of our ai''imma, and its fundamental is our Prophet. When we look at the Imams, we would find that amongst them were differences of wealth and possession and of children. But some of these Imams could be considered successful in terms of wealth. For example, our 8th Imam was known to have possessed wealth, and others were known to go through financial difficulty. The 6th Imam would used to give the example that he says, when I find myself in poverty, I do business with Allah. Meaning that the Imam himself would say that I go through periods of poverty. Wealth was not a distinguishing character amongst the Ahlul Bayt that we would say that they were the best of society. Even our Prophet was someone who did not consider wealth to be the best element of society. Rather, we see that our Prophet was someone who, when Jibreel comes down and says, Ya Rasulullah, Allah has commanded me that if you permit, I am to make the entire city of Medina made of gold at your disposal, and it will not decrease even an iota of your reward on the Day of Judgment. Meaning that there's no accountability for the Prophet to take this wealth. He says, you just have to command it, Ya Rasulullah, and it's yours. Rasulullah makes the statement, he says, oh Jibreel, I don't want it. All I want is enough meal for one time to eat, and for the next meal, I want to have to pray to Allah to ask Him to give me sustenance. Meaning the attribute of our Prophet in terms of wealth was not something that it was desirable to him. He was not the best in society on the basis of wealth. When we take a look at even for the idea that children and genealogy and family should be something that should have superiority, we had Imams like our 8th Imam who only had one son. Imam only had one child. And we had others like Imam Musa ibn Jafar, his father, who had 37 children. And then we had other ai''imma like our 6th Imam who had 10 children, but amongst them were the good and amongst them were the not so good. You would make the argument that says that this system of superiority and that society should value itself on the basis of these things doesn't fit with the values of Islam, because we didn't see these attributes to be exemplary in our Ahlul Bayt. If you and I were intended to judge each other on the basis of wealth and children, there should have been no one better in humanity than the Ahlul Bayt and their leader, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, with these possessions. So the fact that they didn't possess these qualities and these were not exemplary items within them tell us that if they were to establish and have complete authority over this earth, then why would they give precedence to something that was not one of their attributes when they had the freedom to possess it? When Allah offered it to them, they didn't want it. Let's look further, that even today in our current society, morality is a desirable trait. One who possesses morality attains a superiority in society. And one who has immorality hides the fact that they possess it. No one wants to commit their sins openly and publicly and announce to society. Nobody wants to be known in society on the basis of their sins either. If a person happens to be an excessive sinner, what do? They hide this affair. They keep it secret from people. They want no one to know about it. And then they want to commit it. But look at a person who possesses morality and good character. That now, for example, in countries like China, there's a morality or a character identity card. You're rated and ranked on this number. Your access to resources in society improves as your character and morality improves in society. And if your character and morality is low, they don't give you opportunities for certain positions and jobs. Certain opportunities to have loans, certain opportunities to start businesses are absent to you, because they say, why should we allocate resources that are limited to someone who will bring bad character into society? Even the tools that they build are used differently to promote the concept of morality. But there's actually something that's considered an active effort to destroy the morality of this country. When you look at a tool like TikTok, which is made by China and has an algorithm based in it, the design, they tell you themselves, the design of this algorithm in America works in this way that if a person sees something negative, the next video it shows you is worse than the one that you saw. It continues you down a path of immorality, of bad character. And that the entire function of this app in this society is to reduce the good quality of the people within it. They say this, they're not hiding this. And they say in our country, the app, we work it exactly the opposite way. That the only content that's available on this app in their society is things that promote morality, that promote character, that promote nationalism, that promote education. Why? Because they said we want to embody those good characteristics, and the way that we have learned that the people we don't like, we're going to control them by destroying the morality within them. So meaning the system of morality is something that is validated as being appreciated and a good thing, and immorality is something that we look at in a negative aspect. That if a society was to be built, it should be built on something that you can only possess through goodness and justice and kindness. And that if something is negative, it should not be the means of attaining success in society, because that is something that will promote bad values in that society. So look at the idea that morality is the most significant element that is taught by Islam, and is the most significant element that we need to develop in our character. We look at 3 examples from the life of our Holy Prophet with your loudest of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. First and foremost, we take a look and we see that Allah has established our Prophet as the focal point that changed this world. In that aspect, one of the questions that's fair to ask, and it's a question that's asked, researched, and studied, is why was our Prophet sent to Arabia and not to Levant? Let me explain. The history of the children of Ibrahim and majority of the Anbiya are sent to the area known as Levant. And there's a history there that, for example, after Ibrahim comes Musa, after Musa is Isa, and there is Zakaria, and there is Yaqub, and there is Yusuf. All of these Anbiya are sent to one area. Yet our Prophet, who preached the same Abrahamic message as those other Anbiya, is not sent to those lands where they had done all the foundation and the legwork. Our Prophet is not sent to communities that already know about La ilaha illallah. Our Prophet is sent into Arabia, where the last Prophet that was there was Ismail. There have been many years since Ismail. The morality of the people has been completely lost. The character of the people is completely destroyed. Arabia is considered at the time of the introduction of our Prophet to be the worst of society. Remember something. To one side you had the Roman Empire, to the other side you had the Persian Empire, and to the south you had the Abyssinian Empire. None of them conquer Arabia. None of them see any value in this land. They look at these people as the most backwards people, who are the most uneducated and the worst of society. And our Prophet is sent to these people. Why? This is an actual discussion. Why? Why not send our Prophet there where people are adjusted to accepting this message? Why not send our Prophet to a nation that is an empire and structured, where the spread of the message would be easy, where he would benefit from the teaching of the 124,000 Anbiya before him who prepared the land? The significance of one of the few explanations that we have of why our Prophet is sent specifically to this land is to show the greatness of his character and morality among society. That he, one alone, was sufficient to take the worst of humanity and raise in them a light that he changed that land that even empires could not conquer. That he was that great example of humanity and morality, of what was the best of humanity, that Allah, when he wanted to show the beauty of his Prophet, to show the example of his Habib, he sends him into the absolute darkness so that that light is brighter and the impact of that light is felt around the world. إِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Allah swears and he says, it's certainly, oh Ya Rasulullah, oh Muhammad, you are on the greatest and most noble of characteristics. Therefore, in that society where no teacher had done work, where they were the worst behaviors of people, is where our Prophet comes to show that his khuluqun adim doesn't need the assistance of anyone. He alone is sufficient to change that entire society and world. That one aspect we take a look and we see that the first reason of why we see the significance of morality is Allah bases this as sending him to show humanity what the best example is. And which is why even our Prophet, when he explains his own status, he says, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِمُتَمِّمُ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. that I am the one who has been set to complete the best and most noble of characteristics. The statement of Rasulullah is very interesting. He uses the term innama when he begins his statement. Similarly, Allah uses the statement innama when he talks about ayat al-tathir. Innama yuridu Allahu liyudhiba ankum ar-rijsa ahl al-bayt wa yutahhirakum tathira. See, the term innama is for inhisar. To say it is this only this one thing. When Allah says that I want nothing except to purify them, a thorough purification, Allah is saying the only thing that these people possess, that is the best thing that they possess, that I have done for them, is to give them that complete pure status so that you never have to doubt what they give you is from any other source except from Allah. Similarly, Rasulullah, when he describes his own position and responsibility, he uses the innama of inhisar, that innama bu'ithtu limutammim wa makarim al-akhlaq, that I am the one who has been sent exclusively to perfect the noble characteristics and traits of humanity. In me you will find their perfection, and that is the greatest thing that I can give to you. So one, we see the superiority of morality by taking a look at how the example of Rasulullah was sent to society and how he establishes it in that location to show that no one else's influence was there to change these people except that time that was spent with Rasulullah. The second of our points, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallu ala Muhammad. The concept of morality and its superiority was not something that was introduced by our Prophet, but rather even the forefathers of Rasulullah were experts and teachers of morality to prepare the ground for our Prophet. When we look at the forefathers of Rasulullah, we can look back at least 2 generations. We can look back further, but Hashim and Abdul Muttalib. Hashim, in his example of morality and excellence of character, has a very interesting story. First and foremost, Hashim himself, Hashim is not his name. Hashim is a name that he was given. His actual name was Amr, the great-grandfather of our Prophet. His name was Amr. He was given the name Hashim because in the time of his authority over the Quraysh, or his time of living, the Quraysh in the city of Makkah went through an extreme famine. And this Hashim was the one who would grind wheat and make bread to feed all of the people of Makkah, to such an extent that his name became Hashim, the one who grinds, because he was constantly busy in grinding wheat and providing food for the people of Makkah. One of the amazing things that Hashim does is he is a trader. He is the leader of the Quraysh, but he is not the leader of the Quraysh because of his excessiveness of wealth. Rather, him, like all of the lineage of Rasulullah, were moderate in their income. There's only one exception to this in the Banu Hashim, that is Abbas, the uncle of the Holy Prophet, who was very wealthy. Other than that, all of the Banu Hashim traders that came until that time were mediocre in income. They were moderate. Yet they were the ones who were given the position of leadership amongst the Quraysh, not the wealthiest. One of the aspects of his leadership was his nobility and character was so extensive that when he would go to the lands of Philistine to trade, that the Roman governor of the time of Philistine had heard of the character of Hashim and said, I want to meet this man. When you look at history to see why would he be interested in meeting Hashim? He's not the wealthiest. He's not much. He's just a businessman who comes from Arabia. It's said that the character of Hazrat Hashim was such that the Roman governor was overcome to hear that amongst the Arabs there is someone who possesses this nobility and goodness of character. He says, if there is a good one among them, bring him to me, I want to meet him. They describe that when Hazrat Hashim comes to visit the governor, he sits with him and the governor becomes overcome by the goodness of his character, by the beauty in his speech, by the intellect in his conversation, that the governor of Philistine turns to him and he says, oh Hashim, ask me for anything you desire and I will give it to you. The character of Hazrat Hashim was such, he could have asked for anything, a house, a car, well, not a car, a horse, could have asked for wealth, he could have asked for possession. Hashim says, oh governor, I want nothing from you for myself. But if I am to ask you something, I will ask you to build an alliance between our city of Makkah and the Roman Empire of Philistine. He says, in this, it will be something that will add honor and dignity and safety for us to be able to come and trade with you and to build a relationship. Therefore, Hashim is the first one who brings not only nobility to himself, but to the entire city of Makkah by raising its status as a safe trading post and one that has an alliance with the Romans and a place that now acknowledges and gives dignity to the people of Arabia. So meaning that even he was an exemplar of morality. When we look at Abdul Muttalib, we see it go even further. That Abdul Muttalib continued the tradition of his father, and he is the one who built the alliances with the lands of Yemen to the south. Allah talks about this, that these alliances were built when he talks about لِإِلَافِ الْقُرَيْشِ. Ilaf is to have an alliance. لِإِلَافِ الْقُرَيْشِ إِلَافِهِمْ فِي رِحْلَةَ الشِّتَاءِ وَالصَّيْفِ. What are the alliances that were built? The alliance that they had in the Shita when they would go down to Yemen to trade, and Saif, the alliance that was built for the Quraysh, that they would be able to go to the lands of Sham and to be able to trade. Abdul Muttalib's time went even further in establishing the concepts of morality, that after the two alliances that gave safety to the traders of Makkah to be able to trade in the north and the south, the only place that remained insecure for them to be traded was in their own lands. That there was fear amongst the Quraysh for them to be able to safely trade in the city of Makkah. And Abdul Muttalib is the one who begins the tradition of even correcting this, where it's noted and said that Harb, who was the forefather of the Banu Umayyah and was a contemporary of Abdul Muttalib, went through the process of robbing and killing a Jewish man in the city of Makkah. When he robs and kills this man, the Quraysh stay back and say nothing. They have nothing to say. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The Quraysh don't get involved because they have no family ties, no lineage associated with this, and the Arab at that time are only associated with protecting their lineage and their clan. And if I am a part of a clan, whatever my clan does is right, and whoever opposes my clan is wrong. However, when Harb takes this action to kill this Jewish man, he kills him on the basis and takes his wealth on the basis of what? The Jewish man is not from the people of Makkah. He has no family, no lineage, no relationships, and there is no one who will stand up to defend him. So Harb takes him as a weak man and robs him. Abdul Muttalib is the one who raises the Quraysh to stand against him. And Harb says, oh, Abdul Muttalib, you're going to defend this Jewish man. He's not even from us. He's not from our people. He's not from our tribes. Abdul Muttalib is the one who replies, yes, because today it is this Jewish man. Tomorrow, if you see one of us weak, you will attack us as well too. So he says, when we stand up for justice for others, it protects our rights as well. Therefore, Abdul Muttalib is the one who established the fundamentals of preserving justice and the safety of all the people who lived in the lands of Makkah. And this is why Abdul Muttalib is known authentically as one of the most respected and dignified leaders of the Quraysh. But Abdul Muttalib too was not a wealthy man, that he was not based and made a leader on the basis of his wealth. He was made a leader of society on the basis of his morality and character. Therefore, tomorrow, if society was to return to the idea that morality is the most dignified and honorable characteristic, and we looked at the lineage of Rasulullah, we would find that his dignity does not begin with Islam, but rather that his lineage from even before was the one that presented the fundamental of morality and led on the basis of morality. Which brings us to our third area of learning about the example of morality from our Prophet. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When we look at the life of our Holy Prophet, we know that his nabuwwat begins at the age of 40, where he begins the enunciation of the message of Islam. However, the life of the Prophet, even before the age of 40, is a place where many lessons are learned, including the establishment of something called Hilf al-Fudul. Hilf al-Fudul referred to the alliance of the virtuous. Fudul meaning from Fadilat, Fadil. The one who possesses Fadilat or those who possess Fadilat are Fudul. And Hilf al-Fudul, the alliance of those who have piety amongst them. From the children of Abdul Muttalib, his teachings were continued to where his sons began this process of now saying that within the city of Makkah, injustices happen, people get mistreated, and that we need to establish an alliance amongst ourselves that when one gets mistreated, anyone, we will collectively stand up to earn back their right in society. This Hilful Fudul was established when our Prophet was not more than 20 years of age, yet one of the founding members of this institution of Hilful Fudul was our Prophet Rasulullah. When our Prophet joins this system of Hilful Fudul and he supports it, there's a number of different important messages in the sociology and teachings of Islam that are established. That justice and morality are not just for the Muslimin. Had we looked and seen that our Prophet did not promote the message of justice in society, had not promoted morality in society until he became the Prophet, we would say that the only interest of morality is within the religion and only for the people of the religion. The example of Rasulullah standing up in a moral position for justice for all of humanity, regardless of whether they followed him or not, was a demonstration to show that Islam was something that looked at the goodness in society and promoted it. And what was bad in society, prevented it. It didn't bring something new and it didn't bring something exclusive only for Muslimin. That every member of society is entitled to this justice and moral character, and whoever possesses it should be treated well. Which is why we see that Rasulullah, even after the coming of the message of Islam, does not refuse and deny Hilful Fudul, even though the members of it are polytheists. Rather, those members, they accept the religion of Islam, seeing that Islam promoted that concept of morality and good teaching. That had this been missing from them, we would have said that Islam was something that, yes, preaches morality and good character, but only if you're a Muslim. That with others you can do whatever you want. But no, from the life of the Prophet, we see the example that when it comes to morality and good character, it should be promoted in every instance where possible, no matter what the faith of the person that you are dealing with. When we look at this in context of how a society should be built, and we look at, for example, the time of the dawr of our coming of our 12th Imam Sahib al-Asr wa zaman. In the verse that we mentioned in the beginning of the discussion, it's true that we say that هُوَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلَ رَسُولُهُ بِالْهُدَى وَدِينِ الْحَقِّ لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ. That Allah has sent this Prophet and has promised that this Prophet's religion, لِيُظْهِرَهُ عَلَى الدِّينِ كُلِّهِ, will overcome all other religions of the time. This statement doesn't mean that the religion of Allah will be forced on humanity. There are different opinions about this ayah. Amongst some of the other schools of thought, this ayah is made to believe that the way that Islam will overcome other religions is by overpopulation. That we will continue to have more children than everybody else, and this is how Islam will become the overpowering religion over others. So that's nonsense. Another belief amongst them is that we will have to overcome them through war and fighting. We disagree with this as well too. If our Prophet didn't establish the religion of Islam through war and fighting, then how is it possible that his religion will take authority over this earth with war and fighting? Our Prophet was a man who loved peace. And this was demonstrated by when he conquered the city of Mecca, that he conquered an entire city of people who were trying to kill him. And yet he killed no one in the process of overcoming them. It's a demonstration that Islam is a religion of peace. Islam will not take its position of authority over society by killing other people. Yes, it's true that in the dawr of the Imam they will be fighting, but against those who are the extreme oppressors who stand to lose the most by coming to the system of justice. But humanity as a whole will love the idea of justice and good character and will want to come to it on its own. Which is why when we talk about that his religion shall overcome others, it's not on the basis of fighting, it's on the basis of the goodness of the character that people will be attracted to, the justice they will be attracted to. And even if they don't, for example, submit to the religion and say that we are Muslimin, there will be those people who will love the morality of Islam and say the government of Islam is better for us than any other government that has come before. In this, when we start analyzing the structure and we look at how Allah has said, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولُ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ, that in the example of, in the personality of Rasulullah, you have a great example. That when one wants to learn about morality, there is no better teacher that you will come to than Rasulullah and his Ahlul Bayt. That if all of humanity, if the currency of the society becomes morality, the morality to learn it, they will have no one else to go to except for the beloved of Allah, Habib Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In this way, it makes sense that the government of Islam should raise the status and demonstrate the superiority of Prophet Muhammad and his Ahlul Bayt, and that they become the teachers of humanity and they become the focal point of humanity. Why? Because the interest of humanity is to attain a greater status in society, and that greater status in society, if it's not earned through wealth, if it's not earned through children, it has to be earned through something. And morality is that one thing, that the only ones who can earn it are those who do goodness. There's no way to be unjust and to attain a greater status in society if the measure of goodness in society is morality. And that there is no one who is a better teacher of this morality than the beloved of Allah and his Ahlul Bayt. Which is why Allah in the Quran even says, "In kuntum tuhibbun Allah fattabi'uni yuhibbukum Allah wa yaghfir lakum dhunubakum." Allah is in the Quran setting the example that anyone who wants to love Allah then they have to go to Rasulullah. Fattabi'uni, follow the example of Rasulullah. Yuhibbukum Allah, Allah will love you for this. Wa yaghfir lakum dhunubakum, and He will forgive your sins for you because of this love of Rasulullah. Meaning that the time and the message of Islam that wants humanity to love and follow Rasulullah, the method which I propose in this argument is that that method will be used by promoting the currency of morality in society, and then they will have no choice except to come to Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Which brings us to what it is that we need to do in our time. If we are the possessors of morality, if we are the possessors of love of Ahlul Bayt, when we raise our generations, don't worry if they possess the currency of this time and if they are wealthy. My goal should not be that my child is a millionaire, that my lineage is someone who is wealthy. Why? Because the quality and the long-lastingness of that wealth and its status will finish with the advent of the Imam. If I intend for my children to prepare for the coming of the Imam, if I want them to be in the government of the Imam, if I want them to be the helpers of the Imam, I need to invest in the inheritance that will raise them in the status of that society. Which is why we need to be working on the morality of our children by teaching the example of Rasulullah. This is why our sixth Imam, Jafar ibn Muhammad As-Sadiq alayhi salam, makes the statement, he says, wealth is the inheritance of Fir'aun, and akhlaq is the inheritance of Anbiya. If we were to say that that religion and authority that all those Anbiya preached was to become the religion of society, the norm of how society operates, then why would it not be that their inheritance is what works in that society to operate it? Our functionality now becomes what? To teach the example of Rasulullah, to live the values of Rasulullah. That when we celebrate his wiladat, that this wiladat that we are celebrating is not something that we do simply by the tongue, but rather our actions come to reflect his character. And this is where the teaching of our sixth Imam comes in need. That when society had forgotten who is Rasulullah, what did Rasulullah preach? It was the sixth Imam by whom we are known as Ja'fari, who came to reestablish and ensure that the example of Rasulullah was not lost on this earth. It was the sacrifice of Imam Hussain that ensured that the religion of Islam remained true. And it was the teachings of Imam Sadiq that the people knew what it is that is Islam. Which is why the sixth Imam sharing his birthday with Rasulullah is appropriate. That one preached the religion, the other preserved the teachings of that religion. The famous statement was that at the end of the life of our sixth Imam, 4,000 scholars would sit in Masjid al-Nabawi and say, Qala Ustaduna Ja'far ibn Muhammad As-Sadiq This attribute of preserving the message of Rasulullah is not just associated with the birth date. No, but even the laqab of Imam being As-Sadiq is shared with Rasulullah, that you could trust the word of Imam Sadiq that he was giving you the message of Rasulullah and nothing else. This is why for us this is a great celebration, that not only are we from the ummah of Rasulullah, we are the ones who possess the preserved message of Rasulullah from Sadiq Ali Muhammad Ja'far As-Sadiq alayhi salam. ندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم. We raise our hands in dua by the barakat of the mention of Rasulullah and his Ahlul Bayt. 10 times we call out, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. يا الله يا الله يا الله يا الله يا محمود بحق محمد يا أعلى بحق علي يا فاطر السماوات بحق فاطمة يا محسن بحق الحسن يا قديم الأحسان بحق الحسين. Oh Allah, accept this small ibadah from us. Ya Allah, give the thawab of this majlis to our marhumin and all those who are in need of dua. Oh Allah, there are those amongst our families, our communities, the mu'mineen who are suffering through sickness and disease. Ya Allah, give shafa'at to the mu'mineen wherever they are. Oh Allah, by the right of the mention of your Habib and his Ahlul Bayt, we have gathered here with hajat. Fulfill our hajat. Oh Allah, keep our children on the upright path of Islam. Give them the akhlaq and morality of Rasulullah and Ahlul Bayt. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of Sahib al-Zaman. Make us and our families from the upright supporters of Sahib al-Zaman. Entitle us to the ziyarat of Imam Hussain in this world and the shafa'a of Imam al-Hussain in akhirah. 1 Surah Fatiha, 3 times Surah Ikhlas, لأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات مع الصلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله. There is something just to mention that Tuesday will be the actual date of Wiladat. It is a date where many a'mal are mustahab, including taking ghusl on that day and fasting on that day. It is one of the 4 days of the year that it is very heavily emphasized to fast on Tuesday. So if we have the opportunity and those that can, Tuesday is a good day to fast. And reciting the ziyarat of our Holy Prophet and Imam Ali are from amongst the mustahabbat for that day. Sallu ala Muhammad. متوجه الزيارة إن شاء الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله وخاتم النبيين، السلام عليك أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب، السلام عليك فاطمة الزهراء سيدة النساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا أبا محمد حسن بن علي المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين الشهيد بكربلاء، السلام عليكم يا 9 المعصومين من ذرية الحسين، علي بن الحسين زين العابدين، ومحمد بن علي باقر علم النبيين، وجعفر بن محمد الصادق، وموسى بن جعفر الكاظم، وعلي بن موسى الرضا، ومحمد بن علي الجواد، وعلي بن محمد الهادي، والحسن بن علي الأسكري. السلام عليك يا حجة الله يا ابن الحسن يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان الأمان من فتنة الزمان. عجل الله تعالى ظهورك، عجل الله تعالى ظهورك، وجعلنا من أعوانك والأنصارك والمستشهدين بين يديك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Okay, downstairs.